Welcome to my thoughts on Arrow Season 1, Episode 4, An Innocent Man. The episode is rated TV-14, some frickin' how. So this video there will be spoilers for these first episodes, and I absolutely love this episode. Let's dive right in. So, I quite liked the, I think I'll start by talking about the book ending. So, at the very start, Arrow is confronted with a man who hates his vigilantism. And that happens again at the end. At the start, it's Dig, who returns at the end to say that he will join. And at the end, it's Lance, Detective Lance, who I am not sure is going to be convinced to join or to let him go or, yeah. So very nicely done. It's this thing of like at the very start, as soon as we realize, oh, he is not down with, this whole hood business. That's not at all something he's okay with. Yeah, we wonder, is he gonna tell the police? And then there at the end, the police did find out, but not because of, because yeah, I mean, there at the start, Dig did dig, and when Dig dug, didn't turn out so well for, yeah, Arrow was like, I told you to protect them, but yeah, I really loved how this episode, so far, the first 3 episodes, find a name on the list, Arrow will find a name on the list, go after that person, get them to, do the right thing for once in their lives. And in this one, there is a name on the list, but he's not just, quote unquote, just going to that person and getting them to right their wrong. He also has to get Peter Declan out of prison, which is going to require working with Lauren. Really great, twist on the formula. It's one of those things you got to be careful not to rely too much on formula because it could end up stale. So yeah, really nicely done. Adds another source of tension for the episode. And let's see, I think so yeah. Very early in the episode, Oliver comes home and Lauren shows up there. This is one of those cases where you got to be careful what you put in the script because there's actually a deleted scene. I've been watching those on the Blu-ray, trying to keep up with as I watch the episodes as well, watching the deleted scenes of them. I forget which exact episode, but one of them, yeah, she shows up at the place. And, if in the scene in this episode, if he had been like, that's twice in a short amount of time, the audience would have been like, what was the other time, So yeah, very fortunate that they did not put that in there because you never know what's going to end up getting cut. And yeah, she basically says, maybe at some point he should try to care about anyone other than himself. Way harsh, Di. Nah. And it was fun that Thea, maybe she has a future in vigilantism as well. She kind of ninja'd into the scene. I'm kidding. There's the door right there. There's stairs close by, but it was fun the way that she was suddenly there behind. Yeah. I think that, oh, right, at least going by the Blu-ray, this was the first episode to have a previously on. The other episodes didn't really need them. And maybe this is the way that, the opening bit is going to be from now on, because in this one, it was not new footage or narration that was, specific to the episode, so it's possible, maybe they'll go back and forth depending on what makes most sense for the episode. But yeah, in this one, he doesn't have a mission from the start of the episode. That happens, not terribly long after, but not immediately. I think that does pretty well. But yeah, with Dig and Detective, we are seeing, yeah, different people will dislike what Hood is doing. Sorry, Arrow, but they won't necessarily react the exact same way, because Dig could easily have gone to the cops. I think that does bring us to so yeah. Rob is the replacement, and if yeah, he says he's actually on loan from the MCU. Not the first actor to both do Marvel and DC. And yeah, he quits by the end of the episode, and then when Dig shows back up, Oliver's like, "So you want the job? Because I wore out the new guy already." I feel like the way he's treating Rob is not that much different from how he treats like Tommy. It's just that Rob doesn't, that's not what he wants, and also like the fact that he quits. It's yeah, he's gonna be able to get another job. It's not gonna like ruin his life or something. Sure, he'll get great references. And but yeah, the thing about so I gotta go into I gotta go to the city. Can you drive me, Mr. Queen, sir? I've been warned about I have to keep an eye on you. I'm gonna keep you where I can see you. Rob, we're 20 miles from the city. If you don't drive me, how am I gonna get there? And Rob, this little goofy smile, like, okay, fair enough, okay, and goes and then waits at the car, and then Oliver drives past and he does the wave. That's really funny. How, you ask, is Mr. Queen gonna get to the city without being driven by someone else? Asked and answered, Your Honor. And let's see. Then we have So he talks to Dig again, who also talks to Carly, and I like the thing with I know who you are. No, you really don't. Getting a that's too vague of a reference even for me. Anyway, but yeah, and he points out, hey, Floyd Lawton, he was the one who killed Andy. So, yeah, and yeah, he talks to Carly about, I want to do some good again, but I don't know. I'd like to change the world, but I don't know what to do. And yeah, it's a great little conversation, and again, we're seeing a woman inspire a man, and yeah, I also like the thing with Joanna being like, if you go places other than home and work, you're gonna meet someone, and okay, fine, if you get mugged, you can date that person, fine, and then later, okay, Arrow is not what I was talking about, don't get involved with him. I think that right, and yeah, the flashbacks again really work, and yeah, by the end of the episode, he is ready to kill, and the thing with that doesn't mean bird, it means survive, and Oliver's like, I thought you didn't speak English, you assumed, and let's see, yeah, he becomes willing to kill to survive, and now that he's back in society, maybe he's a little too ready to kill, so yeah, that's a really good, and it's an important thing a theme to bring up in a vigilante story. I think that does pretty well get us to so yeah, he has the nightmare, goes, and Lauren is sitting there watching something about someone who killed a man who killed a woman. So I guess even back in 2012, young women were super into true crime. To be clear, I appreciate it's a way they get to feel safer. But no, it was a good way to get the yeah, he hears some details about the case, and Jason Braddour, that that name's on the list. I mean, there's no list. Don't listen to Drunk Ollie. I'm gonna go sleep with a woman that I don't know. But the uh, the thing about, he claims that did I just accidentally say he talks to Lauren? I mean, he talks to Thea about Lauren. Sorry. But yeah, and he claims that she was the one who the nightmare was about, and the picture he keeps looking at, and she points out, well, maybe the reason that she's not with you, or that you're really screwed up, and I appreciate that she, brings up again the fact that he's been a real jerk to everyone since he got back, like trying to get him to treat others better. And I think, and he, I like later also, there's something wrong with your face. It's like this smile, just, yeah. And it is nice to see him smile, especially because of Lauren. And, she's like, I'm great with relationships. Let me know if you want a trendy spot to propose. Like, holy crap. 0 to 60. Little matchmaker. But then we have, I think that does bring us nicely to, so yeah, the whole thing, this thing of, they killed, let's see, they killed a whistleblower and framed the significant other. I don't know why. Somehow I can't quite remember if that exact thing has happened, like has been proven to have happened in real life, or if that's just something I've seen a lot in fiction, But yeah, it is the kind of thing that we feel like that probably has happened, and certainly whistleblowers are targeted by the people they blow the whistle on. We gotta work to get more protections for whistleblowers. But yeah, the that was genuinely a clever, and yeah, he talks to Lauren, and that was also a great bit, so the lights are off in her apartment, and he's standing there, and he's like showing, hey, I'm not dangerous, walks up, and he's using the voice changer because, she's known him for so many years. He thinks she's not gonna know, not gonna recognize him just because she can't see his cheekbones. So yeah, he's you. Yeah, and she gets the gun out, of course, and he gets her to lower the gun. It's a good thing that he knows how to do that without like breaking her hand like he did with a mechanic. But the yeah, then we have the he manages to convince her to look into Peter Declan, and yeah, she talks to Dad Detective, but lies. And it's one of those things like, yeah, they didn't used to lie to each other. It's not that their relationship is perfect or something, but they don't lie to each other. That is a bridge they don't normally burn when they cross it, I mean. And I guess after they cross it, because if they burn it, if they set fire to it before they cross it, I'm going to stop now because I'm getting into the weeds. Anyway, yeah, so we have the, she talks to him, gets some information, and yeah, she goes and yeah, it's a really good scene. This thing of, by the end of the episode, she is ready, she's working with a vigilante, but she is still trying to work within the system. She's, she's talking to the cops. Then she goes to talk to him, and then she goes to a judge. She's genuinely trying to work within the system, and by the end of the episode she realizes sometimes the system isn't enough. In vigilante stories, again, in real life, please do not do vigilantism or work with someone who, in real life, when there are like vigilantes in America, way too much of the time it's like white supremacists going out and brutalizing black people because apparently they think police brutality and mass incarceration isn't enough. Yeah, conservatives will never feel like enough people are hurting until they realize that life gets so much better when you stop trying to hurt people and try to help them instead. I think the Yeah, I like Joanna's reaction to. I guess I did already talk about, but it was really good. And yeah, she believes Peter. That was also a great scene. I quite appreciate the detail because, like, when you work on a set, like every time you get a new angle, it's more time to set up the lights and work out blocking and all this stuff. The fact that when he's confronted, he gets up and like paces and then tells his side of the story, it's great because yeah, like he does genuinely, it's upsetting to him, but he didn't do it, and yeah, she can tell. Like there's the thing about she also has a feeling about Arrow that he's not going to hurt her, and yeah, so far her instincts have turned out to be correct, and yeah, her talking to the judge, and then the other lawyers show up and immediately say, oh, that's slander. Comic book media, sometimes characters are just almost caricatures. I love that's literally like immediate. I don't think dude even said his name before. He just immediately starts throwing around lawyer terms. That's amazing. And another addition to those smug. Ugh, Jason himself just. Well, I'm safe. Oh my god. And I loved when Lauren's like, I'm gonna, what was that? I'm gonna nail your ass to the wall. I'm gonna keep pulling at this loose end until I unravel your entire life. And then he's like panicking. He's like, what do I do? Like just whiny. Oh my god. The show, I love how the show handles these villains, these antagonists, I suppose I should say. And yeah, she genuinely felt like this should be enough to, at least suspend the extend the deadline, whatever, something like that. I think that yeah, I like the thing that it must be very lonely to work alone. Yeah, so, and he's like, not tonight, and that's why he's smiling when Thea sees it. Um, and that was also great. Like yeah, I really look forward to seeing her reaction because we don't see it in this episode. Once she finds out, so yeah, she was that close to Oliver, but thought it was someone else. Very nicely done there. And that is also super interesting, them doing this so early. Like a lot of these stories will have, oh, the cops find out, or someone important finds out the true identity. It's not always that it happens quite this early in the story. I think, does that pretty well get us to, and we have the, let's see. So I already talked some about the ending. There's the... Yeah, I gotta talk about... So yeah. Yeah. The thing about... Well, I mean, I think we're done. Look, Mr. Arrow, literally the only thing that would win us the case now is a signed confession. Where are you going? To get a signed confession. That's all I needed to hear. And yeah, he manages to get the confession. But there's also, it goes down in 1 hour, which means, yeah, he has to get there and be ready within an hour. Holy crap. Yeah. Right. And also getting, Matt is took to, holy crap. He really does not mess around. Again, in real life, I do not approve of these methods, but it's cathartic to see, because he knew that he was covering up this, because he got the file, he knew he was covering up the chemical dumpings or something like that. Dumps. Big, massive dumps. They're calling them dumps. And remember that? Remember when Trump went on and on about, Hillary with these being unsafe about these, and then we find out he was like trying to flush documents and leaving them out where people around could see, and then he took some of them with him after his first term. Like, holy crap. Anyway, but yeah, he's like, okay, it's either time for you to confess, or it's time for the 10:15 to Bloodhaven, where you can answer to Nightwing. And yeah, I love that. He's like, no, it's okay. I confess. I'll even give you the file. And then, of course, Arrow's like, what file? me and my big mouth, because now Arrow's not going to let him go until he knows exactly where the file is. He was about to, just because he didn't even know about the file. It could have been like a verbal whistleblowing. It actually is. I've found if you are going to blow the whistle, putting it in your mouth instead of writing, it's much more. You'll see. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a position where you feel like whistleblowing on something, please do. Heroes, absolute heroes. Anyway, that brings us to, but yeah, he does fire the arrow to free the guy from the tracks in the nick of time, like right in the like last second or something. It's just so cool. But yeah, the prison, like, holy crap. So I do want to note, I don't love this thing of like saying, oh, if you're in prison, you're definitely violent. I appreciate that it would have been difficult for them to do much else here, and I do definitely think it is worth noting there was only this riot because a rich jerk was trying to cover up for his crime by getting someone killed. That's what happened here. It wasn't that these prisoners would normally, it wouldn't normally go this way. But yeah, he manages to, and he takes out one of the guards because he, really needs to be able to get in there without being seen, which unfortunately gives that detective an idea. And yeah, really, really clever with, good and great fight scenes. And it's such a great way. I love that, like, when I heard that it was like a gut punch, but in a good way, with the, prison, prison riot thing. It's such a great way to escalate for the climax, and yeah, he has to fight off several of the prisoners, and at one point does get, he gets knocked down, but he gets up again, and she also gets attacked, and they even have her like in a stranglehold, which, like, I do not know how you get away with that on a TV-14, but then, recently that rating has been getting pushed. And yeah, he wails on this guy, and yeah, I believe Lauren is accurate. He would have ended up killing him. She had to stop him from that. And it is, again, one of those, I really love when a piece of media has that actual, like, confronts someone who engages in violence for a good cause with, like, well, what if the people being protected, or supposedly being protected, in some cases not here, what if they actually witness it? Would they be comfortable with seeing? Because a lot of people, and that's not only women, a lot of people, when we see violence in the real world, it is uncomfortable. Even though, again, in real life, I don't believe in it. I do appreciate the catharsis in I think it should only happen in fiction. But yeah, I thought that was really, really great. And she even tells that detective that, she appreciates what Arrow did, but she thinks he goes too far. And Arrow's up there on the rooftop, listening in, like, I don't think I went too far enough. And yeah, holy crap. The arrest, I do not know how they're going to resolve this in upcoming episodes. I mean, okay, so I can figure Diggle is willing to help protect. I can imagine Moira and Walter don't want, even if he is a vigilante, they're gonna try to help in some way. He can probably get, he can get an expensive lawyer, obviously. But yeah, I mean, they have the camera, the recording as evidence that he is Arrow, and they do know that Arrow has killed. Yeah. Let's see. I think, does that pretty well get us to? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to finding out how Lauren is going to react, because I don't think that she would want him, like, in prison as such. I can imagine that she would want it to continue, just like worry about if he's going to kill someone or something. But yeah, I genuinely am not sure how, because like I can't help but imagine, like I figure if something were to happen to the recording, then there's really only, their word for it, and at that point, like if they could be convinced otherwise, yeah, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next, how it's going to be resolved. I think, does that get us to the I feel like there was, yes, Peter. I thought that was such a great. I really appreciate that. That was one of the last scenes. Underlines this is in part a show about Arrow doing good. He reunited a father with the father's daughter. And it's such a sweet, and I love the little moment. And the thing about, okay, so I don't know if that's his mother or Camille's mother, but obviously, yeah, that makes sense. She's been staying with her grandparents for what, 4 years, I think they said it was. And the fact that there's just this brief, before, like, it's incredibly sweet when the little girl does run in and hug, and we see Lauren, being like, justice was served. Yeah, incredibly sweet. I love moments like that, and I love how this is a show that has these extremes. Earlier a guy was almost run over by a train, and we know there was a murder. It just wasn't Peter Declan. And I also do love, at the end of the day, that is circumstantial evidence. I mean, okay, it was a knife from his kitchen, and his prints were on it. Yeah, because he sometimes cooks, I guess. I don't know. I don't think they're arresting men for that yet, but I guess, I don't know. I suppose I can't rule out, if Trump keeps going in the direction he's going, that might eventually be the case.